I want to talk actually first and foremost about what companies are going to experience. I read the other day that these coronavirus tests cost $100 a pop. And I just don't understand. I mean, if you have to test people daily or weekly or with any regularity, how are you going to do that?
Yeah, it's a really good question. At first glance, it makes sense. Oh, sure, let's have the employers do it. They're, da-da-da-da-da. But, companies are not medical providers. And then there are lots of HIPAA regulations around confidentiality and so forth. And how do you get a safe harbor there? And then to your point, do you test weekly? Do you test every day? Do you test every hour? At $100 a pop across thousands of employees, wow, that really adds up. And then you test them, and then you send them into the workforce, and you say, okay, it's okay to go in. But there's a 3 to 4 day lag time before you know. And at that point, they've run around and they've infected everybody. Now is the company liable for this? So this is part of what needs to happen in the next package here from Congress. They need to define what the safe harbor operating principles are. We also need a rapid test. If you could do a swab and right away know, well, that's different than, letting people into the workforce. So we need protocols for all of this stuff and most importantly, legal guidance. Because if you don't have that, this is just a nightmare waiting to happen.
Yes, Senate Leader McConnell has said that, a wave of litigation related to coronavirus could be a second pandemic for the economy. So is the conference board, is that a top priority? Because there are some who say, look, their leadership is focused on the wrong things. They need to be focused on, getting money to the states for relief. They need to be focused on, maybe more money for businesses directly. But do you think that regulatory shield, the liability shield, so to speak, how important is that for businesses to get back to work?
Well, Kelly, I just don't know how you can open the doors and leave yourself wide open to the trial attorneys who are just sitting there waiting. I mean, this is the biggest bonanza they've ever seen, because no matter what happens, whoever gets sick, you're going to get accused of being liable if you've opened your doors. And if you just think about the number of retailers and the number of retail outlets at which you'd have to do testing, how can the companies take on this whole medical testing and all of the system and the liability? So, look, if we want consumer confidence to really return, if we want jobs to return, we've got to provide a safe harbor in this for companies to operate. And then for the workers and consumers to be confident that they can go out and not get sick.
So let's talk about that confidence, which both the reading last month, the expectations index, which we talked about yesterday with Jim Paulson, where he said, look, you rarely have expectations higher than current confidence. And every time you have, it's been a good signal for a broader economic recovery. So, I mean, this has caught a lot of people by surprise that the confidence is coming back a little bit more strongly than expected.
It really caught me by surprise. The Conference Board's Consumer Confidence Index went up 1 point, which is not a lot, but it went up a point in May. I would have expected it to continue to go down, even after the steep declines in March and April. But, usually the consumer confidence is driven by people's jobs, what they're experiencing in their jobs. Remember, this is a collaboration of many different components. The difference this time is that consumers expect improved business conditions over the next 6 months, not necessarily improved conditions or financial conditions for themselves. That's really, really unusual. So the big thing here is that they think that we're going to get back to business. And so it's giving them hope that they can get back into their jobs and so forth. But I'll tell you what, when you get underneath the number and you start looking at what the expectations are for consumer spending, and you go through autos, you go through furniture, you go through household goods and so forth, it's abysmal. And so what I'm worried about is the holiday season. We as a country rely on the holiday season. And if we don't get this really stabilized before, November, you're going to really seriously hurt the holiday season. And then forget any chance of a V. It's going to be, more of a Nike swoosh than a V kind of recovery.
That's really interesting. I didn't know that they were so cautious about those big spending plans. Understandable, but not the sign that maybe they think the clouds are going to part in the coming months. Interesting. Steve, thanks very much. Good to speak with you.